Hey everybody, it's Taylor. I'm here recording a video lecture because so many people are going to be out of town for Thanksgiving. So first let's start with a little bit of review and then I will introduce some new material. Okay, so here I am on my laptop. I've got Text Wrangler open, and the first thing I want to do is add in the code that goes with any basic website. So let's open up Chrome, and then I'll go to W3 Schools. And if we look up, for example, well, let's just go to the home page. And if I click up here on this little 3-bar icon, I can go to Learn HTML. And then right here on the first page, I'll see the example that gives me that what I call boilerplate code. Let's copy that over. You'll also notice down here on the lower left that everything I type is going to be popped up for you so you can follow along. So sometimes you'll see hotkeys as I'm navigating between different files. Okay, so I'll paste this in place, and initially I'm not getting any of that color coding, but that's because the file hasn't been saved as a file type yet. So under File, I'll go to Save As, and as you hopefully recall, index.html is the basic file name that we always want to assume. We'll always start with that. So then let's head here to the desktop, and I'll make a new folder, and I'll just call it Web Project, doesn't matter what you call it. And save index.html. Okay, now we have our color coding. I can also add in a title like test site or whatever. And we can start putting in some of that tabbing that we've talked about, the crucial tabbing. So tabbing, if you remember, is a way to visually indicate the hierarchical relationship between tags. So we know that every site has a body and a head area, and here I can really clearly show that the body is containing this h1 tag with its content and this p tag with its content. And I don't even need these to start, so I'll just get rid of them and maybe put in just some floating content right there. Okay, the next thing we want to add is a link to a CSS page. So if I go up here and Google link to CSS HTML, see if we get lucky. So the HTML link tag in W3 Schools, and sure enough, that's the one I'm looking for. So we talked about this one in class 2. This is one line of code that links with a rel to a style sheet. Type is text CSS, and then the href is the really important one. That's what directs the page to a certain location. So this goes in the head section as well. And you can see up here, I just need to make sure that whatever I call my CSS page is identically, I guess another way, what am I trying to say? That the name of the theme.css just needs to match both my link tag and the name of the actual file. So let's just leave it as is, theme.css. Okay, so we'll back out, save this page, and then make a new page, File, Save As, and call this one theme.css. Now another thing we talked about in class is the need for these pages to occur in the same folder, right? Because if we nest them in different folders, it will complicate the way that the href points out the relationship between the two files. But if they're all in the same folder, then that becomes really easy. Okay, so theme.css, I don't have any folder names or anything listed right here. So now I can start building out the visual rules that are going to drive our little test site. The first thing I always like to do is to give a style to the body, and one simple one is background. So background colon, and then I can say, for example, ABC, ABC, which is an example of a hexadecimal color. There's 6 digits in a hexadecimal color, and each one can be 0 through 9 or A through F, and that's designated with this number sign that leads the hex number. So I'll save these two, head back to index, and I'll click right here. That'll take me straight to my index page, and if I open this guy in Chrome, really I just want to verify that the CSS page is talking to the HTML page, and I know it's the case because the background color is no longer default, it's changed. Okay, so that means that all my code is squared away so far. Now, hello at the moment, as you can see back here peeking around the side, is just sitting wherever it will by default on the page because it's not contained within some tags that have explicit positioning. So the first thing we can start to do is position divs, right? Divs that we name with individualized IDs. We can position them at different points on the page and control those through absolute positioning. So here, for example, instead of just having a plain hello, I might say div ID. Oops, zoomed in. Looks like you can't see my text hints anymore. Div ID equals quotes, and let's call this area 1 quotes. And then I tab over my content hello, and then I come back and make a div closing tag right here. So that's step 1, although this won't do anything yet until I identify the specific characteristics of area 1 in my CSS. And to do that, I make a number sign, and then again I write area 1 and open and close curly braces. And now I'm ready to identify how area 1 is going to function. So first off, position absolute. Let's say 100 pixels from the top, and also 100 pixels from the left. I might give this thing a size of, say, 250 pixels in width, and height is 250 pixels as well. And then finally, so we can actually see what's going on, we'll make the background color, let's just say white, which is 6 Fs, and save it. So we've identified how we want area 1 to function, both in terms of its size, shape, and position. We've also identified where area 1 shows up in terms of the tag hierarchy within the body. Now I've got these all saved, and I can tell that's true because they're no longer grayed out. And so if I refresh over here, I'll get to see how those tags are interpreting the information coming from my CSS page. Okay, so that kind of gets us pretty much to where we were at the end of class the other night. So in the next little video, I'll show you how to expand upon that.